Hello you stunning people, this is Chris from TechSpert and I'm here with the new Motorola One, Motorola's Android One handset, launching here in the UK for 269 quid just next week. And we're going to do a side-by-side now with Motorola's earlier released Moto G6 Plus here on the right. It sports very similar specs and pretty much an identical price, 270 quid. So what's actually the difference and which one might be best for you? Let's do a full side-by-side comparison, and don't forget, for more on the Motorola One and the latest and greatest mobile tech, give that subscribe button a lovely poke. Cheers. So first up, as you'll see if you stick them side by side, the Motorola G6 Plus absolutely towers over the fresh new one. The screen size is actually the same, it's 5.9 inches, but of course the Motorola One sports much skinnier bezels and of course a bit of notch action up top as well, which just helps that display to stretch right to the far corners. In the case of the Motorola Moto G6 Plus, as you'll see, you get a bit more girth to it. You've got quite fat bezels up at top and down below as well, and you'll also notice there's a bit of fingerprint sensor action right here beneath that branding. The Motorola One has saved a bit of space by shifting it around to the back instead. In both cases it works pretty well though, just a quick tap and you're pretty much straight into your desktops with very little delay. Because you might think that the Motorola One is a bit more easy to handle as it is that bit more compact, but in fact here on the Moto G6 Plus you have a rather handy swipe to shrink screen mode. All you need to do is swipe down towards the corner of the display and as you see the entire desktop and everything will shrink it down towards the bottom of the phone. You can then easily reach the notifications bar and all of your apps are nicely reduced in size as well, making it that much easier to handle. So I think that feature is missing in action here on the Motorola One, although you can at least swipe down that notifications bar just with a quick swipe down your desktops like so. Flip both phones around and it's no surprise to see they both have a chic glass rear, very much on vogue for 2018. In the case of the Moto G6 Plus, it does have this rather neat sort of curvy glass effect, however, as you see when it catches the light, gives off this neat little sort of curvy striation. In the case of the Motorola One, it's much more of a straightforward plain finish. And likewise, you don't get the same neat curves here at the edging like you do on the Moto G6 Plus. All the same, because of that compact form factor, it is pleasingly comfortable to grip and operate. They both sport a kind of water repellent design. In the case of the Motorola One, it's actually splash resistant P2I certified. And good news if you rock a pair of wired headphones as well, because both the Motorola One and the Motorola G6 Plus sport a 3.5mm headphone jack. So as I mentioned before, both the Motorola One and the G6 Plus sport a 5.9-inch IPS display. However, on the G6 Plus, it actually produces sharper visuals. It's a Full HD Plus display compared with the simple HD Plus here on the Motorola One. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to make a massive amount of difference, to be perfectly honest. Visuals are still nice and crisp here on the Motorola One, and as you can see, despite the fact that they're both IPS panels, nice punchy colours as well. In fact, if you dive on into the display settings, you'll find that both of them sport a vibrant mode by default. Just helps produce nice punchy colours that really pop off the display, but if you don't like it, you can just dial it down to more standard levels. Both phones support a form of night display mode as well, which just filters blue light, makes a more comfortable, easy on the eye experience in the evenings. In the case of the G6 Plus, you'll have to dive into the Moto app to find that one. As you can see, the G6 Plus also has a attentive display which keeps the screen on as long as it detects that your face is right in front of it. You don't get that option, unfortunately, here on the Motorola One. In fact, that Moto app has really been pared back in the case of the Motorola One. As you can see, you get a couple of Moto actions, double karate chop and a double twist wrist to load up the camera app. Here, of course, on the Moto G6 Plus, you get a lot more. Lots of gesture support, including, of course, that swipe to shrink screen, which I can never say properly. You also get the Moto voice in beta modes. You also get a good bit of Moto key here on the G6 Plus as well, which allows you to sign into your apps, your websites, things like that, using your fingerprint rather than having to type in a password. It's good for anything that you have to sign into regularly, and again, something that's missing here on the Motorola One. That said, the Motorola One is an Android One device. That's why a lot of the Moto features have been pared back. But the good news is that you will be guaranteed the latest Android security updates as they happen here on the Motorola One. And Motorola has said that it will support it through 2 more Android iterations as well. So at the moment, if you dive into system and then about phone, you'll see that it's running Android version 8.1. So that'll be updated to Android Pie probably in the next sort of couple of weeks, and then again to Android Q, whatever that may be, next year. Here on the G6 Plus, it's still running Android version 8.0. That should again get an update to Android Pie reasonably soon. It's a nice clean vanilla version of Android, just like on the Motorola One, so hopefully that update shouldn't take too long. Although there's no real guarantees on how much further Motorola will take it after that. As for the rest of the specs, they're again pretty similar. Here on the Motorola One, you get a Snapdragon 625 chipset backed by 4 gigs of RAM. So far it seems pretty nippy. Apps seem to load up the instant you tap them, no hanging around or anything like that, so that's lovely. The Moto G6 Plus is actually a Snapdragon 630 chipset, again backed by 4 gigs of RAM, although I believe there's a 6 gig model available in some parts of the world as well. And again, nice and nippy, no complaints when it comes to loading up the apps, anything like that. Nice, smooth, everyday performance. We've run a bit of Geekbench on both these handsets as well, and as you can see, it basically spits out the same sort of score on both. Very little between them indeed. If you do want to play the latest games and everything, the likes of PUBG, you will have to scale down the detail levels in order to get a nice smooth frame rate, but that's pretty much to be expected from a nice budget phone around this sort of level. When it comes to the battery tech, the Moto G6 Plus impresses ever so slightly more. It's got a 3200 mAh cell compared with a 3000 mAh cell here on the Android One. Both these phones should comfortably keep you going for a full day, even with quite intensive use. And as you can see, you've got the usual battery saver mode should it be needed. And as these are Motorola handsets, they both support a nice bit of turbocharge as well to give you, I think it's around sort of 6 hours of use with about sort of 15 to 20 minutes at the plug. So good news if you forget to charge them overnight. And when it comes to the storage, there's nothing between them once again. You get 64 gigs of base storage, and you can expand both the Motorola One and the Moto G6 Plus with micro SD memory cards of up to 256 gigabytes. So good news if you like to download a lot on Netflix, Spotify, things like that. All of which brings us onto the camera tech. As you can see, the Motorola One and the G6 Plus both sport a dual lens camera with a different kind of styling. The Motorola One is a 13 megapixel primary lens with f2.0 aperture, and that's backed by a basic 2 megapixel depth sensor. On the G6 Plus, it's slightly more complex. It's a 12 megapixel f1.7 aperture primary lens, so pretty good for those sort of lower light snaps. And that's actually backed by a 5 megapixel f1.7 secondary lens. As for around front, both of these phones sport a simple 8 megapixel selfie camera. We dive on into the camera apps, they'll be immediately familiar to anyone who of course has used a Motorola phone in the past. You start off in full auto mode, but both the Motorola One and the Moto G6 Plus sport a full manual mode as well, so if you want full professional controls over the likes of the white balance, the ISO levels. You also have the active photos feature, which just shoots a brief snippet of video with every photo you take just to bring your photo gallery to life as you're flicking through. As you can see, full flash and HDR support as you would expect, and then just a quick flick in this direction takes you to the bonus features. As you see, the G6 Plus does sport a bit of face filter action, but apart from that, it's more or less business as usual. Because they've both got a dual lens camera, you've got of course a portrait mode to help keep your subject nice and crisp and blur out the background, just to really help them stand out. You've got the nifty spot color feature, which isolates one particular color and just makes everything else monochrome. And when it comes to the video stuff, you've got slow motion, time lapse, and of course a bit of a live YouTube streaming too. As for the standard video, you can actually shoot up to 4K resolution video in both of these blowers, or as you can see there, a bit of full HD at either 30 or 60 frames per second. And that in a nutshell is the Motorola One versus the Moto G6 Plus. Just quick and simple, just a quick side by side with the specs and some of the features so you can see what you're getting. Which one are you tempted by? The Motorola One with its more sort of stripped back Moto features, a more clean version of Android, and hopefully those nice timely security updates and everything else. Or perhaps you're more tempted by the Moto G6 Plus with its sharper display and the fact that it's got that slightly improved primary camera. Definitely let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be interested to hear which one you think is your favourite. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers guys, love you!